Dijonai Carrington took some wild shots at Caitlyn Clark, her fan base, and pretty much everybody on Twitter that supports CCFC.
The WNBA landscape just shifted in a way nobody expected because Dijonai Carrington finally broke her silence on that.
Just shifted in a way almost no one saw coming after Dijonai Carrington finally broke her silence on the infamous eye poke that had the entire sports world demanding her head. After months of embracing the villain role and leaning into the outrage, she sat down for a high-stakes interview that took a stunning turn when the tough exterior suddenly cracked. This wasn't just another basketball moment or post-game soundbite. It was an emotional unraveling that's now forcing fans to question everything. Have we been judging her too harshly all along? Or is this a perfectly timed display of damage control? Were those tears raw and real? Or was this a calculated move to quiet the Twitter mob that's been circling her for months? Let me know what you think in the comments right now.
Miss Eye Poker. Dijonai Carrington slipped through the cracks with a secret interview, man. Now, this interview went down about 2 weeks ago. Now, in this interview, she talks about CCFC. She talks about the fan base. Now, we know Dijonai Carrington, from the outside looking in, is not a very nice person. Now, I don't know her personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't, but some of the things that she has been doing and saying kind of don't really look right. So that's why I'm assuming she's probably not a nice person. Now, with that being said, she definitely isn't a big fan of Caitlyn Clark. She falls in the criteria of like the Asia Wilsons, the Angel Reeses, and pretty much the Cheryl Suits of the world.
So here we are again, back in the middle of the drama because Dijonai Carrington decided it was time to speak her truth.
So here we are again,
underground,
right back in the center of the storm, because Dijonai Carrington decided it was time to finally tell her side of the story on the Underground Lounge podcast. For anyone who hasn't been glued to every tweet, stare down, and sideline moment, Carrington has long been cast as the ultimate villain in the so-called "We Hate Caitlyn Clark" saga. In the eyes of fans, she's been slotted into that same box as players like Aya Wilson and Angel Reese, athletes who many believe don't just compete against Clark, but relish the role of antagonist, feeding off the physicality, the tension, and the reaction that comes with standing opposite the most polarizing star in the game.
Now, Dijonai Carrington, like I stated, did an interview on a podcast, man. I believe this podcast is called Underground, The Underground Lounge. I believe this is Lou Williams here. But guys, you got to check this out. Let's play it right now.
But this sit-down with Lou Williams was something else entirely. It started out with the usual athlete fluff.
But this sit-down with Lou Williams was different, and you could feel it almost immediately. It started with the usual athlete small talk, joking about how she won't even put on deodorant or lotion until she gets to the arena because she wants to feel fresh when the lights come on. A moment that felt harmless, even funny, like a reminder that players are human too. But once the laughs faded and the conversation shifted, the mood changed fast. The basketball world has been fixated on that single playoff moment, the one where Dijonai reached out and caught Caitlyn Clark in the eye, a clip that's been replayed, slowed down, and weaponized for months. At the time, Carrington leaned into the villain role, laughed it off, cracked jokes online, and basically told the CC fanbase to deal with it. Sitting on that couch, though, something was different. Her voice softened, the bravado drained away, and for the first time, it felt like the mask slipped and the weight of how that moment followed her everywhere finally showed.
A very, very specific one.
Yeah. You think that was helpful to the game, or was it harmful? Because the league need eyes.
Both.
It need promotion. Like
right.
I always said, like when it comes to the WNBA, when it comes to the W, I used to say, man, y'all need personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need more marketing, more media. Mm-hmm. And I was like the guys, people care about what y'all doing off the court.
Mm-hmm.
I think y'all doing a really good job of that. But then it brought so much other attention when other popular players got into the league. Like it brought something that shit was.
It was like nasty energy.
Yeah.
Like hateful.
She started talking about the nasty energy that has been directed her way. She called it hateful.
She started opening up about the dark, ugly energy that's been aimed straight at her ever since, calling it hateful and downright ghastly, and the irony wasn't hard to miss. This is someone who's never been afraid to strike the match, now reacting to how fast the fire spread. She talked about how deep it's cut, about her parents sending her clips from content creators online, Videos where people she's never met confidently invent stories about her character, her intentions, her entire identity. And in that moment, you could hear the frustration underneath it all. The disbelief that a single play turned into a narrative so loud that it followed her home, reached her family, and refused to stay on the court.
Because we only see what you respond to, but you dealing with that shit all day long.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are, and it's like, you try to not, focus on it or whatever, but it be under your pictures, not even just like DMs where you have to go searching for it. It be out there in the open, posts, YouTube. Like, my parents be sending me videos of people making up stuff that happened.
She looked into the camera with actual tears in her eyes and tried to explain that if it didn't come from her mouth,
she looked straight into the camera with real tears sitting in her eyes and tried to draw a hard line between reality and the stories people have created about her, saying plainly that if it didn't come out of her mouth, then it isn't true. For someone who usually treats the court like a war zone and criticism like background noise, that kind of vulnerability felt jarring. She admitted that the league absolutely needs the attention, the eyeballs, and the promotion that new fans bring. But she described that exposure as a double-edged sword, something that lifted the game while cutting her in ways she never saw coming. In that moment, the tough exterior slipped just enough to reveal how overwhelming it can be when a single incident turns into a non-stop narrative. One that follows you off the court, into your phone, into your family's group chats, and suddenly feels bigger than the game itself.
Just go ahead and say it. Caitlyn Clark fans, she about to slip up and tell it like it is right now. Speak her mind. And this right here is why she get a bad rep.
She really went in on the Twitter gangsters and the content creators who hide behind anonymous
She didn't
profiles.
hold back at all when she started talking about the Twitter gangsters and the content creators hiding behind anonymous accounts, calling them out for talking reckless while never having the courage to attach their real faces or names to their words. She was almost pleading with people to keep the same energy in real life, and honestly, that's one point she absolutely earned. A lot of people in that fan base feel untouchable behind a keyboard, firing off takes and insults they would never dare say to her face, never stand on in person, and never accept the consequences for if the roles were reversed.
If it didn't come from me, it's not real. But
you hold your own though.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I be like, show your face. Let's talk about it, and they never want to.
No, they won't.
As soon as you respond, they crickets or their page is deactivated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or they just screenshot it and then post it on another.
Yeah.
She responded to it.
Yeah.
She claimed that as soon as she responds to a troll, their page suddenly goes dark, or they deactivate.
She said the moment she claps back at a troll, their account magically disappears or goes private, and it really does feel like a bully suddenly realizing there's no referee when the target fights back. Then she tried to brush off the hate by claiming most of it comes from men who don't know how to flirt, which is a wild move. Telling people who despise you that they're secretly attracted to you is pure sarcasm and proof that even through tears, she hasn't lost that sharp edge. But that's where the real question comes in. Was this actually an apology? She never really said, "I'm sorry, Caitlyn, for nearly taking your eye out." Instead, it felt more like a broad apology for the ugly state of discourse around the game and a plea for the hostility to die down. That says something. It sounds like someone who's realizing that living as the villain is draining, that carrying the weight of non-stop outrage and millions of angry fans eventually starts to suffocate you. You can only wear the black hat for so long before it stops feeling powerful and starts feeling heavy. And that's where things get complicated, because there's another side to this story that can't be ignored. Caitlyn Clark has said absolutely nothing, and that silence might be the loudest response of all. As usual, she's just living her life, playing her game, and letting her fans handle the noise online, and that's probably what gets under DJ's skin the most. When you're shouting into the void and the person you're aiming at won't even acknowledge you, the tough girl act starts to feel less intimidating and more desperate. The WNBA is stuck in this awkward transition where longtime players feel like strangers in their own house while a wave of new fans floods and focused almost entirely on one name. Diggins is clearly wrestling with that reality. She wants the spotlight, the marketing, and the money, but not the backlash that comes with it. She leaned on the league's history and championships, framing herself as a guardian of the game's legacy, but none of that erases what people actually remember. The eye poke is the image burned into everyone's mind. You can talk about routines and respect all you want, but once you go after the league's golden girl, you paint a target on your own back. This interview felt like a calculated attempt to change the narrative, to soften the edges with tears and remind people she's a daughter and a human being, not just an overly physical defender. The problem is she's spent too long being slick on social media for anyone to know what's genuine anymore. One day she's clowning Caitlyn's flops. The next she's emotional over cruel comments. And that whiplash makes it hard for people to believe which version of her is real. You can't play both sides of this game. If you choose to be the villain, you better have thick skin, and if you want sympathy, you probably shouldn't be poking people in the eye. Jalen Rose hit the nail on the head when he said the league can't fully move forward because too many players are stuck in old habits, obsessing over personal beefs and social media drama, while the actual basketball gets lost in the noise. Dijonai is undeniably talented, but right now her story isn't being told through box scores or defensive highlights. It's being written through antics, tweets, and viral moments she can't take back. This sudden apology tour feels like an attempt to rewrite that story, but it may already be too late. The CCFC doesn't forget easily. They remember the laughs, the mockery, the dismissiveness, and a few emotional moments on a podcast aren't guaranteed to wipe that slate clean. What really stands out is how she tried to shift blame onto the new fans, suggesting they're hurting the game even while admitting the league desperately needs the attention they bring. That's a tough sell coming from someone widely accused of contributing to the nastiest moments on the court. It feels like blaming the fire for the smoke after striking the match yourself. If you play with hostility and carry yourself like a Twitter troll, you're going to attract that same energy back. You don't get to dish it out and then act shocked when it comes home. At its core, this interview was about control. She's tired of the clips, the DMs, the backlash, and her parents worrying every time her name trends. But until there's real accountability and real respect for the players bringing unprecedented eyes to the league, the backlash isn't going anywhere. Caitlyn Clark isn't going anywhere either, and neither are her fans. If Dijonai truly wants peace, tears alone won't get her there. She's going to have to change how she carries herself on and off the court. Until then, this hero versus villain saga will keep feeding the content machine, even if she hates every second of it, because right now the villain is standing in front of us asking to be seen as the hero. Play with hostility and carry yourself like a Twitter troll, you're going to attract that same energy back. You don't get to dish it out and then act shocked when it comes home. At its core, this interview was about control. She's tired of the clips, the DMs, the backlash, and her parents worrying every time her name trends. But until there's real accountability and real respect for the players bringing unprecedented eyes to the league, the backlash isn't going anywhere. Caitlyn Clark isn't going anywhere either, and neither are her fans. If Dijonai truly wants peace, tears alone won't get her there. She's going to have to change how she carries herself on and off the court. Until then, this hero versus villain saga will keep feeding the content machine, even if she hates every second of it, because right now the villain is standing in front of us asking to be seen as the hero. If DJ Carrington can figure out how to be a tenacious, hard-nosed defender without the extra slick comments or questionable plays, she might actually start winning over some of the fans she seems so wary of. But for now, all we have is a podcast interview and a ton of unanswered questions. The drama isn't over, and Caitlyn Clark, as usual, is staying silent, letting the world react while the chessboard moves around her. Right now, DJ is the one making the desperate plays. Looking back at the season, that playoff incident wasn't just a foul. It was a symbol of the tension between the old guard and the new wave. Carrington's tears could be the first sign that the pressure of fame, scrutiny, and fandom is finally catching up to some players. It's easy to be a troll when no one's watching, but the game changes when the world is judging your every move. She tried to humanize herself by talking about her parents and personal struggles, but she couldn't resist taking a few shots at the viewers. That internal tug of war, wanting to be loved yet thriving on hate, seeking respect yet struggling to give it, is what makes her so polarizing. The cycle won't end until she stops playing the game off the court. Until then, we watch, comment, and wait for the next time these two collide. One thing is clear: Caitlyn Clark isn't losing sleep over any of this. And neither should we. We're just here for the ride. Whether you see DJ Carrington as misunderstood or as a calculated villain, this interview adds another layer. She's finally admitted that the pressure is real, And that alone is a small win for fans who thought she was untouchable. Now the spotlight is squarely on her. Dijonai Carrington has a choice. Use this moment to evolve, show growth, and recalibrate her public persona, or slip right back into the same old ways as soon as the cameras turn off. Either path will be scrutinized. The CCFC is watching, content creators are waiting, and the nasty energy won't let up as long as the shade keeps flying. This is the new reality of the WNBA, and she's right in the eye of the storm. Pun fully intended. So here's the question for you. Were those tears genuine remorse for the infamous eye poke, or just the culmination of months of internet roasting finally breaking through? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you think the drama has gone too far, and hit subscribe for more deep dives into the ever-complicated world of the WNBA. I'm out, peace.